Welcome to another amazing video in which I'm going to help you become a amazing and awesome and a professional web developer a lot faster. In this video, I want to share something that I think is really going to help you in your web project. So let me ask you this question. Have you ever wanted to know more specifically in terms of audio or a video file, if you can find out information about that particular file before you upload it to your server? And the information that I'm referring to is the file name, the file type, whether it's a video, audio, and the file size in terms of not just byte size, but actually formatted that tells you like, hey, this is a 2 meg file, 3 gig file, things of that nature. And also how long that particular audio or a video file is. If that information is helpful in your current project or maybe in the future project that you will be working on that you may need it, this video is for you. Make sure you watch it throughout the whole video. And also don't forget that check out codewithmark.com/gift. Make sure you check that link out. I will also leave it in the description so that way you can go in there, make it easy for you to click on it. And the reason why I want you to go there is because I have something really special that I really feel is going to benefit you to move ahead in your web development career. So without any further ado, let's go and get this party started about how we can, how more specifically you can get all the information for your file before you upload it via jQuery. So I'm gonna refresh the page just to show you what it does. And then we're gonna break this project down step by step. As I always do, if you ever watch any of my video, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that way you get the latest and greatest information that is very helpful, first of all, and easy to digest. And I try to make it very, very simple video. If this is the first time you're watching my video, welcome. We have been waiting for you. So let's go. All right, so I'm gonna refresh this page, and in here you will normally see this choose a file dialog box. I'm gonna click here, and more than likely you're not gonna see the dialog box here because I'm using this new software, which is pretty cool. So you're not gonna see that, but just trust that the file is there. So I'm gonna select one of the files, which is going to be the audio file, and when I do that, it will give me a preview that I can click on here, and it tells me like how long this particular file is in terms of this one is 2 minutes and 5 seconds. But underneath it, you will see there's a JSON object, and then within the object there's a specific information that I just mentioned earlier, which is the file name, the file type, whether it's audio MP3, audio MP, so on and so forth. There's so many different ones, but this will give you that whatever that is available in the file object, it will give you that information. And also the duration. The top one is in a regular seconds, so it's like 125 second 0.675, so on and so forth, and then it will format it into like hours and minutes, so on and so forth. Hour, minutes, and second, it will do that for you, which is pretty sweet and very easy to get that information. And then you can use this particular information later on in your project, save it into your database, so that way if you want to do something else with the specific information, you can readily do that. So let's move on. So now next is the file size. This is in bytes, but what I did was make it easier for you. I also broke it down where it tells you it will be whether it'll be a regular, let's say for example, file is like kilobytes or something, then it will be KB. If it's a megabyte, MB, GB for gigabyte, and so on and so forth. And then it will tell you, in this case, this is 4.8 meg file. And then also in here, this is formatted in here. So this is what it looks like right now. So let's just do another one. So let's say I wanna include a video file. So I have another file in here. I'll go ahead and do that. And then this preview version will just give you like, hey, this is what it is. And the same concept, the 4 minutes and 58 seconds. So if I go in here, it's 48 and 58 seconds. Total second is this. The file size is this. The file name is that. And then file object is that. And that is that. So let's go look at the code, how this whole thing gets created. All right, welcome. Now we're going to be looking at the code to see how this whole thing gets compiled, come together. I will break it down for you as much as you need it to get this code implemented in your thing. So let's start from the top. So I am using jQuery. As you know, I love jQuery. I think that's the best thing there is because there are so many other frameworks that come and they go, and jQuery is the only one that's been around for more than 10 years. I can't say for any other framework that has lasted longer than that. Maybe 2 years plus, if that. So I love jQuery. I have also a jQuery course. If you're interested in taking that, make sure you click the link below. That will take you to there. Take that course. I promise you, you are going to be totally amazed by how I teach you to use jQuery by manipulating the page, the DOM, so on and so forth. So that's just my 2 cents about jQuery. So let's go on. So the top 2 lines, I'm just including the jQuery here, and then this is the Bootstrap version 4.5 very specifically. And then I have this one function in here that gets it. Well, let me break it down. So let's go all the way down. So let's put this here. So I go over here so you can see this side by side. So when I click on this button, and then this dialog box will come up. So what I want to do is when I click on here, this is where the code gets fired. So anytime I click on this, it's going to go through this process. And if you ever used the jQuery file object, and you can rest assured it will look like this. And also what this is going to do is to give you a very specific things that you would need. So all you really do is check to see if the file object exists, which means this thing has something. If it does it, then it's going to go and process that file object in this function. So I'm calling this function, I'm passing this file object, which you literally get it by writing this simple line of code, and I'll pass that in here. And then let's look at this function itself. This is where the magic happens. And if you're like me and any of our smart programmers that are like, hey man, I don't care about how it does, I just know, give me the code, and then I just want to take that and run with it and do it. I don't want to know how it works. I just want to know what I need to do to get it included in my project. If that's you, make sure you click the link below, in which you can literally get this code copy pasted into it, and then you can move on to it. But however, if you're one of those people who are like, hey man, I want to know the details of how this thing got created, so that way I can customize it to my own liking. If that is something new, then let's go on. So let's go. So let's look at this get file data function, which is right over here. And as you can see, it takes the file object, which we saw, and then it will do a callback, which means you can do a callback. So let me show you what it looks like. So in here, the first object is your file object. Second is the data, which is something called the callback function. It's going to return it, and then within this function, it's going to have a object called data, and then if you want, you can use this data object and then go on with it. So let me just show you what the data object looks like. So I'm using, by the way, Chrome here. So let me refresh this so you have this latest and greatest thing. So I'll go here, up this in here, and the reason why you see this part of it is because I'm canceling the log, and this will show you all the different JSON objects that it will pass after the function has finished doing its thing. It will pass it on here, and it will look like this, which is similar to this. Only difference is the file object will not be available in here because it doesn't get populated. However, the file object is here, and then in the file object, this is just your name, your size, file size, which is in bytes, and then type. And then what I did was there's a different kind of JSON objects. For example, you got the type, which is audio MPEG, and then you got the file size JSON object, and within this you have other objects. So you have size in byte in case if you want to store the byte information in your table for whatever purpose, you could do that. And also there's another object called size formatted. This will tell you like, hey, this is what I call as a pretty version. So you could just literally display that that's what it is. Or if you don't care about the MB and the size, then you can get this. And then this will be your identifier, whether it's a megabyte, byte, or gigabyte. Those are things that will help you in your project, which will be a lot handier, I would think. And then we have the file duration. So this is in regular seconds, and then it's formatted in hour, minutes, and second, depending on how long your file is. So that's what's happening, and you get all of this in here. So let's move back to our function. So get file, the first one is the file object, and this is the callback function. And this is the function that gets to convert the time in the right format. You really don't need to know this, but if you want to, you can dive into it. So, and I will let you do that on my own, but sake of this particular video, you don't need to know this function, which just converts the time from seconds into hour, minute, and seconds. And then this is another function called the convert the file size, whether it'll be in megabytes or bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, and gigabytes. Once again, you don't need to know this function as well. You're just gonna take this and copy paste it. As simple as that. That's how easy I made it for you. So this is where we are going to start to dig right into it. So this is the container, which is the container ID. That this container, this particular container, which has a div and then an audio version of it, and this gets created on the fly whenever someone push the, let's close this out here. Whenever someone pushes this, and there's a temporary container that will go in there and on your page, and then it will append it here, meaning it will get created, and then it will have the div, which has a container ID of this, and then it also has audio, which has this. Just to get that your information for your file. Once again, you don't need to know this, but I'm just showing you what it can do in case you're like, hey, what does that mean, Mark? I wonder what that means. So now you know what that means. So let's move on. So we have another variable, and this is the document. So we are using this particular variable to add it later on, meaning we're gonna remove it. First of all, we're gonna add the source to it, which will be the file object. So that way we have a player that allows us to play audio or a video file. So just to demonstrate that, so for example, if I click on this and pick this file, this is the player that I'm talking about here. So pick this one, this is the video player that I'm talking about. So let's move on. So this is what happens here. And then this function is where it will see if the video or the audio is playable. If it is playable, then it's going to get the file duration, which is an object within its structure. And then we're going to assign it to second. And then from here, we're just going to convert it. I'm just showing you here that it take this function, put in the duration, which is this right here over here, put the durations in here, and then we're going to move the container that we created over here. So that way it becomes temporary. It doesn't exist on your page anymore, because this process repeats itself in case you have multiple different uploads or on your server. So that way it's not taking up space. So it gets created, and then we have this part, it gets removed. And then if, for example, if you call the callback function, then it's going to return your file object, your name, your type, duration, file size, and that's what it's going to return. And this is exactly, let's go here, what you see over here, which intent goes over here. So let's go further down. So once again, let's look at this side by side. So if I click on this file, choose a file, this is the object for this. So I just assigned it to variable. And then what I'm doing is, hey, after it got all the information that it needed, I'm just gonna set the value to be null, so it doesn't have anything. So I can use another file to upload and gets its file type. And then what I did was I have this within this data, like for example here, actually go back here. So within this data, I have this object type, file type, which are we looking up here. So what I did was I'm checking to see that within this string, does it say audio or a video? It has to be one or the other. It can never be both. So that is what I am checking to see. If it's an audio, then I'm just creating a container that will allow me to play, give you a preview of the audio in here or a video in here as well. So that's what's happening in here. And then I am just showing you, which is this line over here, this part over here, just to display it. But for all sake and intention purposes, for you, what you are going to do with it. So basically, you copy the function, let me just save it, all of this function up until here, the get file data, you copy it, you paste it into JavaScript. As long as you're using jQuery, you're golden. And then all you do is get this line, so basically this line and all of these line. And then you could do whatever you want with this information, upload it to your server, and if the certain validation that you need to check, you could check it right there and then. And that is that. So hopefully this was helpful and you found a lot of value out of it. And then if there's anything else you may need potentially help with, make sure you check out codewithmark.com. Under contact, send me an email. I get a lot of emails, so I try to help all those people who try to send me an email to the best way I know how to help them get ahead of their project. All right, guys, until further notice, or I should say, until next time, happy coding. Take care.